Welcome back to New Jersey Power and Politics. I'm Jim McQueeny. Well, we all are reading about bloggers and everything, right? Political blogging and the like. Well, we have two of them with us today from New Jersey. We have Jeff Gardner from Blue Jersey, that's a Democratic blogging site and Democratic blogger, and Ryan Peene from the Republican State House Steps, also blogging from the Republican side. Before we talk about what you're talking about, let's take a look at a poll that's talking about what people think about New Jersey politicians, Democrats and Republicans. As you can see here, 44% of New Jerseyans I guess we would call it favorable about Democrats, unfavorable match. So everyone that likes a Democrat hates a Democrat. And on here, the view of favorable Republican here, you can see is a little more than a third favorable and unfavorable, a little bit more than that, more than 50%. That's interesting. I think this kind of poll that shows that there's no universal love for politicians puts you guys in business, I think, here. And, you know, Jeff, let me come to you first, since the Democrats rule the roost in the legislature, as opposed, we're going to come to the governor here in a second here, and that when you write about things lately about, from your site, what are you writing about that's exciting the blogging world about Trenton?
Well, certainly if we look at that poll, you know, when Democrats are evenly split among the public, and it's clear that the public at large is really unhappy with the Republicans, I guess we're writing winning, because the message that Chris Christie is taking the state too far to the right is obviously resonating, and voters are rejecting that. And I think we're going to see that play out this November.
Well, I think Ryan's going to disagree with you on this thing here, and I also see polls that are generally about Christie showing him, compared to other Republicans, almost any other politician, actually a little better than where they are right now.
That is correct. At the end of April, FDU had released a poll showing the governor at about 51%. He took a few hits with Coptergate, but in a poll like that...
Oh, even you're calling it Coptergate. The governor said it was just the Democrats saying that.
Well, you know, everybody adds gate to everything since 1974. We're in another Republican, obviously.
Yeah, what kind of traffic, well, as we see here, the Copter video on screen here, what kind of things were coming to your sites from people who responded to your blogs? Did you have a surge in traffic, web traffic coming to you because of Coptergate, either one of you?
Certainly on Blue Jersey, we had a big increase during that whole story, and we were one of the first outlets to be talking about it, and maybe one of the last. You know, our community is left-leaning, to be sure, but we also have some contrarians who join in. And so in Coptergate, I have to say, I think we won over some of the contrarians, because people really were outraged at that story.
Well, Ryan, was there much defense on your Republican side about the use of the helicopter?
Well,
I mean, the governor's got to get around. He's got to go to a kid's ball game.
He does have to get around, and unfortunately, in this state and age in politics, even the governor doesn't get any leeway when
they don't cut a break anymore.
They don't cut a break.
Well, what else do they write about Coptergate? Well, you know, the sites have been around for a while. So, you know, what seems to be the recurrent thread of the political discourse right now when it comes to sites, partisan sites like yours, Democrat or Republican?
Well, I think if we cite the poll, the Monmouth University poll that you just had up there on the screen, it showed that Republicans had about a 35% approval rating right now in New Jersey voters' minds. But when people think of Republicans in the state, sometimes they're going to pin it on somebody on the national level who might not be as popular here in New Jersey, like a Sarah Palin who just visited New Jersey.
Or Christie and Obama. Let's take a look at a poll out of here, and we're going to come back here to you, Jeff, after this commentary. Look at this poll that just came out here. This was about Republican challengers with Christie, who says he's not running. FDU says that the governor pulled 34% of the vote compared to 50 for president head-to-head with Obama there. You look at that thing. That's actually a backslide from March, where it's down about 6 or 7 points from there. So, well, let me just go to you, Jeff, on this thing. When you see a matchup of all that's being talked about Chris Christie here, you see him sliding on a direct matchup on here. Now, again, the governor said he's not running on here, but he's constantly being matched up on here. What's your take on that?
Well, you got it right. It's not just the number 50 to 35, which is terrible, obviously, for the governor if he really is playing this presidential politics game. But it is the trend. I mean, reports were that he was a little bit closer back in March and a little bit further away in April, and now fast forward to June, and at 50 to 35, he looks like some of the other also-rans in the Republican field.
Jeff, let me be a contrarian, to use your phrase on your side, and go to Ryan, and I look at that number and I say, wow, 1/3. He gets 1/3 against a sitting president of the United States, and he's only been in office for a little more than a year.
I think many New Jerseyans are happy with many of the reforms that the governor has championed, and he's worked with Democrats to achieve those reforms. As you've read in the newspapers today, he's come to a pension deal with Senate President Sweeney, who also shares in the belief that we need to do something about the problems that are facing the state. There's a lot of challenges, and he's been out in front. He's addressed those. He's taken on school funding right now, maybe bringing in some private entities to run some of the state's most challenged schools. He's thinking outside the box, and I think a lot of people realize that. Obama's also holding on to the last of his Osama bin Laden bump, which obviously benefited him.
Which was significant, if not temporary. If I go, Jeff, one quick thing, we have about 45 seconds left. If you were to talk about Ryan's side here, as the Democrat looking at the Republican competition on the other side, what do you say about the reality on his side? And I'm going to ask him about the reality of yours.
Well, I mean, it's mostly spin, and I say that, you know, with due respect. Ryan's a bright guy and a great writer, and I actually enjoy reading his site.
That's a nice thing to say. What are you going to say here about Jeff on his side? A little too liberal, wacky, commie?
It's very entertaining.
Well,
I have to give you that. But, you know, you always have to look at what the other side is doing, and Jeff runs a good site.
All right, very good. Good comments to Jeff on that one. We're going to have you back here, all right? Stay with us. There's more to come in the second half of New Jersey Power and Politics, only on News 12 New Jersey.
Montvale. Stay tuned. Your news continues right here on News 12 New Jersey. Rock Ribs and Riches Festival.